Hello everybody, welcome to my first Marvel movie review. I'm going to be starting with Captain America, the first Avenger, and I'll be doing them in chronological order, so next up will be Captain Marvel. So each of these reviews will include a basic overview of the plot, just basically the key events, an overall review on the movie with a score out of 10 and what I liked and didn't like about it, and then after that I'll be doing a character review on the main characters with a score out of 10 and then the reason why I gave them that score. So let's just get straight into explaining the plot. So the movie starts in a snowy biome where they explore a wreckage of a ship and find Captain America's shield, along with his body obviously, frozen in ice. After that it cuts back to during World War II, where the main villain is taking the Tesseract for a man in a cathedral, I presume, I'm not really sure, and then he does kill him. He then introduces Steve Rogers, who is currently small and weak. He tries to apply to the infantry but then gets rejected, and then it shows that he gets picked on and beaten up by a bigger man once he stands up to him in the movie theatres, and then his friend Bucky comes and saves him. Whilst him and Bucky were going to a Howard Stark presentation with two other girls, Steve runs off to apply again for the military, and a scientist accepts him for a research project. Meanwhile, the villain and his assistant harness the power of the Tesseract, intending to turn the war and even the world with their new weapons that they have discovered. Steve and Peggy Carter, who is the main love interest of this movie, then enter an antique shop and then go into a S.H.I.E.L.D.'s secret base. Steve then enters the super serum test tube thing, and boom, Captain America is born. Bucky's team is sent out on a mission and they do not return. Steve discovers that Bucky could be dead, but he may also be a prisoner, so he sets out for a rescue mission. Peggy and Howard Stark fly him over enemy airspace and he arrives on the ground and infiltrates the base. Steve then frees all of the other prisoners and they start a riot. He then goes to the villain's assistant's office and finds Bucky there, hooked up most likely for scientific reasons, and then they escape the exploding base after an interaction with Red Skull, who has now been revealed as the main villain. After Steve returns with all of the soldiers, he recruits a team and continues his romanticings with Peggy. Another woman kisses Cap whilst he's about to go in and try out new gear, and Peggy is fuming. She then shoots Captain's new shield, and he sets off back to the Hydra base with his gang. After taking out many Hydra bases, Bucky and Cap invade the train to catch the crazy midget. Bucky dies whilst falling off the side of the train sadly, and Steve is obviously distraught. Although the short freak did get captured, and he reveals Red Skull's plan, who is currently readying his army. Captain America then invades Hydra's base where Red Skull is, and he wants to confront him obviously. He then gets surrounded and taken to Red Skull. After that, the gang then helps him and he pursues Red Skull once he tries to run away. As Red Skull tries to fly away, Cap, Peggy and Bossman Phillips chase the ship, and Peggy kisses Steve before he jumps onto it. Long story short, he gets inside of the ship through landing gear rising, and then he fights Red Skull, and then Red Skull holds the Tesseract, and he dies. Then Cap crashes the ship into ice to save people, leaving Peggy alone whilst he's freezing. This then takes us back to the start, and it carries on from there. So Steve wakes up in the modern world and they attempted to keep him secured, but he figures it out and sees Nick Fury when he's in the middle of the street. They talk and then the credits roll. So the post-credit scene was mainly just the Avengers trailer and Nick Fury recruiting Captain America to the Avengers. And also Stan Lee did have a cameo. He was a war veteran when Captain America was supposed to come out, but then he didn't, and he said, "I thought he'd be taller," when someone else comes out to tell the person leading it that he won't be there. Now let's get into the character reviews. So we're going to start with Captain America, aka Steve Rogers. So I'm going to give him a 9 out of 10 because I didn't really like him at the start because he seemed whiny and pathetic, but you know, that was the whole point in it. And then he got better obviously after the super serum. I don't like when he kissed the other woman though, because it kind of defeated the whole object of his forbidden love with Peggy, but he's still one of my favourite Marvel heroes by far. He's probably tied top with Spider-Man maybe. Next up is Peggy Carter. Now I'm going to give her a 7 out of 10 because I liked her overall as a character. I just wish she did more fighting. There's not really much to say about her because she was more of a side character. I didn't really do a lot of fighting, and if we saw more of her in action then I would have probably given her 8 or 9. Next up is Bucky Barnes. 10 out of 10. I love Bucky. That's all there is to say. Next up is Colonel Phillips. I gave him a 5 out of 10 because, you know, he was alright, but most of the time he was just a knob, so overall I'm not really a fan of him. Next up is Red Skull. I'll give him a 7 out of 10 because he's a good villain, but to get 10 out of 10 I'd say a better end fight scene against Captain America. And finally we have Zola. I'd give him a minus 10 out of 10 because just no. He can die for all I care. No offense to short people, I've never insulted my own kind, but I hate him so much. He just looks and he's annoying. Overall, I'd give the movie an 8 out of 10 because I don't really like the end fight scene that much. It was kind of anticlimactic in my opinion, but other than that, I love this movie so much. So that's it for this video. I do hope you enjoyed my first Marvel movie review. Next up's Captain Marvel, as I said at the start, so turn on post notifications for that. Leave in the comments what you think about this movie and the characters involved. We may also be doing these on the Star Wars movies. I know you probably know our opinions on them, but just in case you don't, we probably do a breakdown of the plot and all of that with the Star Wars movies. Now, I'll see you next time. It'll probably be out next week or the week after, I'm not really sure. But yeah, I'll see you then, so bye bye.